Welcome to Feature Friday, where we explore all the cool functions of our Roof Wizard software. Today I'm looking at a relatively simple little job where we want to explore the installation of our roof panels and generate what we call our section report. I'm doing it on a simple roof so that we can concentrate on the process. As is the case with all jobs, before you put any material on anything, always check the job is correct. The most critical thing are the dimensions and the slope. So we have here story number 1, 112, and over here story number 2, 612. So they're all good. Now, it gets pretty busy in a minute, so I'm going to turn off all the dimensions. I'm not deleting them, I'm just turning them off. I can turn them on later when I generate my report. So, metal panels. We go to cover, metal panels. So I need a 16-inch standing seam panel. So here's one, a 16-inch standing seam. We'll run with that one. And when you select the standing seam, it wants to know what colour. I don't know yet, so not selected. And you also want to select check the appropriate allowances. So for this one, I'm going to use this particular standing seam profile allowance file. And I'll show you in a moment what the allowance file does. So I've got the right allowance file, I've got the right pay rate, and I've got the right cover width, so we're good to go. Okay. Now, we go to Estimate menu. What's going on with the allowances? So we check on the allowances button. I'm going to load up the one I've just selected, the standing seam one here, and I've got these allowances set. So I've got overhang into the gutter, overhang into the box gutter, if there is one, clearances at the hip, ridge and valley, and what have you. This allows you to set up different allowance files for different systems. So a standing seam roof may have a different allowance file to a corrugated or ag panel roof. The other thing I'm doing is telling it to annotate the panels with just the rounded panel length, rounding to the nearest inch. And I'm going to also combine the short length panels to make longer panels, and I'm telling it to do that by combining all the short ones to up to a maximum length. So minimum and maximum length are defined when you define the panel profile. All right, so I'm going to apply the offsets, but you can also tell the software to generate the cut list by applying the offset values without actually showing them on the model. But I'll show you on the model, and we'll do that right now. So we hit OK, and we go down here, and we're going to hit the offsets. So the offsets are now applied. So you can see here I've got a setback from the valley, setback from the hip and ridge, and I've got an offset into the gutter. The geometry of the panels is not the same as the geometry of the roof, although a lot of people assume that it is. So don't get caught. It could end up costing you a lot of money because the panels may end up being way too short. The next thing I would typically do is insert all the lap directions. So this tells the software which direction to lay my panels. And the next thing I would do is set my sections. So I might have a section A will be the lower roof, and section B. We use sections for a range of reasons, but basically on a real complicated job, it allows you to break out the cutting list and organise your materials in a more logical way. You also have the ability to set the sequence for a particular job, so you can tell it on section B, for example. I'm currently starting off with that section B1 and B2 and B3. You know what, I might start off with that being section B1, that B2, I'll leave that at B3, that will be B4, and that will be B5. So that's the order in which I want the roof installed. It's up to you. It's entirely dependent on how you want your guys to work or where your material will be delivered on site. So half it might be delivered up here and the other half might be delivered down here, whatever works. Okay, so I've set my sequence. That's all done. And now I can start applying panels to the roof. So we go to Gen Panels, and the cutting list is prepared and the panel layout is displayed. Now I do spot over here that actually I missed one. The lay direction here means I'm ending up with half a panel up that whole end. It may be a whole lot better to have that at the other side So if we go back here to the set panels and swap the lap direction on just that side of the roof, so I'm laying with a full width panel from the gable back, regenerate the cutting list, and you'll see now I've got a full width panel at the gable end. I'm not sure if you need to do that all the time, but that's an option available to you, and generally will improve the appearance of your job. I've got a whole bunch of panels in my cut list, and you'll see the shortest one is longer than 6 feet because I set my minimum length to be 6 feet. And at the bottom of the list is a list of longer panels made up of a whole bunch of short panels. And that's to ensure that when you pack your job, you haven't got a whole bunch of short panels that can be lost or damaged or broken. And so easier to handle and easier to package. You've got all your clips and screws and all your sealants and every other accessory that's previously been defined to go with that panel. 6,000 feet of coil with a very low waste factor. That's brilliant. So if I hit OK on there, back there for a second, you'll notice that you've got areas of grey there. See how these are the light colours? That's indicating the panels that are shorter than 6 feet, which was what I set my minimum. And so all those short ones are coming out of the longer lengths. Okay, now because we're very tidy people and we want people to be able to read what the information we provide, you've got a function here under Modify Panels to move the text, and this is a useful tool. So I might say, look, grab that bit of text there and move it down to there and delete a line there. And I've got another one which I can't read, which is not that one, and I want that to be moved down to there, and I want the leader line to be there. So you can see you've got these very cool tools to actually move text around to make it easier to read, and that's just you do that as required to make the job easier to interpret for your customer. And I'll move this one down to here and put the leader line there. So the whole job is a whole bunch easier to read, and you go around and fix that up everywhere else you need to do it. Okay, so hit OK on that. Get out of there and go back to our reporting, where we want to generate the section report, which is the primary focus of our job today. I don't really care about the other stuff at the moment. I want to focus on our section report. So we've got 6,000 feet of coil, near enough, and we go to print. We select from our list of previously defined templates, and I've got a template here called section report. So you double click that, it goes in to be the printed list, and hit OK. And what happens now is, because that section report template is created in Microsoft Word, the software opens Microsoft Word and starts to fill out the report. So you see it's processing the job and creating all the information that I need in my report. And if I open up Microsoft Word, you'll see that it's filling out the report for me. We use what we call key text strings. So the # section report 3 is one of the variations of our section report, and that tells the software the way in which I want my report to be presented in Word. This takes a couple of minutes to do, and once it gets down here, I'll show you what it's done for us. So we've got an individual breakdown of each area of the roof, and a panel layout for each section, indeed each plane in each section, and a cutting list for each one. So explore this. There's a lot more detail that the software is producing. It's also allows you to print the allowance tables, so everyone knows the allowances that you've allocated for this job, your cutting list for your fascia and gutter, or your flashings and trims, and other elements that you may or may not require in your quotation is entirely up to you and how you design your template. So reach out to AppliCad at any time and let us know what we can do to help. It's all described in the help files and a whole bunch of tutorials that go along with that. So that's about it for Feature Friday for this week. I look forward to working with you as you learn more about what Roof Wizard can do for you. That's it for Feature Friday for this week. Have a great weekend and we'll speak to you soon. Bye for now.